Good morning, beautiful souls. Here we are with the wonderful mind probe expert Liz Cross. We're not doing a mind probe today, or we might be doing a little bit of it, I guess. But we are here with the help also of another person she's going to channel, my son Erik, who is in the afterlife. Hi, Erik. Hi, Liz. How are y'all doing?
You know what he just did? He just threw a paper airplane at me.
Oh my goodness. Hope it didn't poke out your eye. All right, so we're going to talk about somebody who I have actually never heard of, Dee Dee Blanchard. She was
Mm.
born 1967. She died 2015. She was a 48-year-old mother who was found stabbed to death in her home in Springfield, Missouri. The murder was planned by her daughter, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and executed by her boyfriend, Nicholas Goodjohn. So anyway, police discovered the body of Dee Dee 5 days after the murder uh, upon residents seeing alarming Facebook posts written by Gypsy Rose Blanchard the day prior. Hours later, both Gypsy Rose and Nicholas were arrested in Wisconsin. Both confessed to the murder. I mean, he carried it out, but so she's free, but Nicholas is still in jail for life. The media revealed that
Mm.
Dee had forced her daughter, Gypsy Rose, to pretend to have several physical and mental disabilities for financial and social advantage, a condition known as factitious disorder imposed on another. Also, I know it as Munchausen's by proxy, Munchausen
Mm.
syndrome by making somebody else sick instead of yourself sick. Gypsy Rose pled guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years. Her boyfriend Nicholas, who had committed the attack on Dee Dee, was convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the
Mm.
possibility of parole. So anyway, Rose was paroled at the end of 2023, so she's free. This case has been very controversial and the subject of several films and television series. It's a serious
Oh,
disorder. All right, questions. Ready, Liz?
I've got Dee Dee Blanchard standing here. She's ready to talk.
Awesome. And by the way, Liz Cross, you will find all her information, including her YouTube channel, which is extremely prolific in terms of the number of mind probes she has done. So check that out. The link is there, but also she will be on the screen as well. Well, she is not on the screen, but her information will be on the screen. All right, number one. Looking back on your life, what do you now, Dee Dee, understand about your choices and your behavior toward Gypsy?
Do you understand now about your choices? She was wrong.
Yeah.
She was an abuser.
Did you decide that? Did you come to that awareness before you crossed over or only after you crossed over?
Ooh. Only after.
Wow. Well, what did you think about it when you were alive? How did you justify it?
How did you do it? It was the right thing to do, she says. It
Because,
was what she knew. Listen, this is a family issue. This is not something that she just, this is a learned behavior.
oh,
I
from her?
feel her mother or her caregiver, somebody in the home, was always faking an illness. This is what they did for attention.
Wow. Well, so that's question number two. What beliefs or traumas shaped how you treated your daughter? Do you want to add to what you just said?
Oh, what beliefs or traumas? It was the way to get attention. And then when the money started rolling in, it was like she hit the jackpot.
Wow, so you sued people because of certain illnesses, or how'd you get money?
Oh, how did you get the money? She
Oh,
got
awesome.
donations. People,
Oh,
she would ask for certain things like medical equipment,
I
um,
see.
housing. She was receiving benefits. She would get everyone to feel sorry for her. People would just bring her food. People really were very nice, she says, and they were always willing to help.
Yeah,
And they would just bring her stuff all the time. It was a very easy life
I bet.
continuing these lies. It's better than working for a living.
Yeah, I bet you were inundated with casseroles from neighbors, all I can say. So, were you aware at the time that your actions were harmful? We said that was no, right? and you believe you were doing the right thing when you were alive. We already answered that question, but if you need to add anything else, please do.
Do you believe your actions were harmful? No, but then I have a question, which is,
Yeah.
well, as Gypsy was getting older, and she's starting to establish more freedom as kids do. Like, how were you going to deal with that? And she says that's where the trouble started.
Oh,
When Gypsy started to become a separate person, really when they're little, even though they are separate individuals, they're really like one with the caregiver. And then as
sure.
they start to form their own identity and their own consciousness, so how did you deal with that? She would punish her.
Wow. How?
How would you punish her? She would take away her access to communicate, and she would lock her in a room.
I heard
Uh,
you chained her to the bed sometimes when she tried to
oh,
escape. Or
did you
maybe I'm
chain
thinking of
her
a
to the
different
bed?
case. I'm not sure.
She did.
Wow.
Locked her in rooms. But I'm saying, did you ever have a conversation that this was false, that you were doing this to get money? Did you? No, no, she really made Gypsy believe that she was ill.
Oh, wow. Mm. And I'm sure she developed some sort of form of Stockholm syndrome eventually. Okay, from your current perspective, how do you see the medical treatments and conditions you imposed on Gypsy? We already established that you figured out after you died that it was all wrong, correct?
Yes, but how did she get away with it with all the doctors? I
Yeah,
mean,
how? How, Eric, you might have to answer this one. How'd she get away
how
with it?
did
I
she
mean,
get
are doctors
away?
that stupid that they couldn't figure out? No, you're faking it.
Ooh.
She's perfectly
Okay.
fine.
Well, Elisa, you may know this. It's as if all the doctors don't talk to one another. It's like one and then the other. That's what
So
Erik is
true.
saying. Is that true?
Yeah, she probably went from doctor to doctor to doctor. And a lot of doctors have this mentality like, well, they're paying the money to see me, so I better agree to something. So I better give her antibiotics. I better do this. Yeah, so yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's the reality. Not with me, ever. All right,
No, but sorry, Elisa,
no, go
how would
ahead.
she pass I mean, how would she pass their diagnostic tests
Yeah,
is
if she was
what.
said she had cancer, couldn't they figure out that guess what? She didn't have cancer? I mean,
Let's ask her. How did you get around all the diagnostic tests? Oh, so a lot of times Gypsy was not really compliant to taking the tests, like the scans. She wouldn't lay properly. Did you
oh,
tell her to do that? Yes, she coached her.
wow.
She
Okay.
would cry when she had to have blood taken. So how did you convince a doctor that she had cancer? She says, "Oh, it was easy. You just tell him, you just tell him that another doctor diagnosed her with this and another doctor
Oh.
diagnosed her with that."
So lies, basically. Wow. So can you explain what was going through your mind when you spoke to doctors and with these fabricated illnesses? I mean, what went through your mind? It's like you knew, right, that she was not sick. And so you were talking to these doctors about these fabrications. So what was going through your mind during all that? Or did you eventually believe she was sick, maybe?
Oh, did you believe that she was sick? I mean, yes, she did because Gypsy was so convincing. I mean, did you actually believe that she was sick? Like, did you actually lie to the point where you believed your own lies?
That
Yeah, at
happened.
times she did.
Okay. Did you feel validated or needed by the attention that came with caring for a sick child?
Did you feel validated or needed for the attention that came? Very much so. It was a great way to get sympathy, to get love from people.
Yeah. Oh,
It
wow.
was easy. People are not going to question someone who has a disabled child.
Yeah.
It's easy to get love from people. Did you ever feel loved in your life? No, she did not.
So this was an easy way to get love. How would you describe your emotional connection with your child, with Gypsy Rose?
It's very terrible.
Did you love
Um,
her?
did you love her? Not really.
Well, did you love her in your own way?
Did you love her in your own way? Not really. It was,
She was
she was
cruel.
compliant. Behind closed doors,
Yeah,
she wasn't nice to Gypsy at all. She would like throw food on just slam the plate on the table. She was emotionally abusive. She was physically abusive.
yeah.
Uh, very controlling behavior. Behind closed doors, it was a totally different
Oh,
person.
and I bet you were
And that
fawning
is,
on her in front of the doctors and nurses and stuff. My baby, that sort of thing.
mm,
Yeah.
yes, and it was that behavior that caused Gypsy to seek information outside of the home. So, was she doing a lot of research online? Yes, she was. This is where she believed that her mother was crazy. She started to understand. Did she ever get up and walk around out of her wheelchair in the home? Yes, she would catch her getting up, walking around out of the wheelchair, and the mother would say, quickly, get back in that chair. You're too sick to be out
Oh,
of the chair. And Gypsy was pretty much compliant with whatever her mother told her. Her mother was her caregiver. She trusted her. She believed her mother loved her.
yeah. Well, did you love her in your own way? I mean, and how do you understand that kind of love now?
Did you love her
Or did
in
you
your
not love
own
her
way?
at all?
No, she did not love her at all.
Okay, did you hold any regret? Do you hold any regret or sorrow about how her life was shaped under your care? How Gypsy's life was shaped?
Extreme regret.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, as it stands right now, unless they sort of expand their consciousness, this is going to be repeated again, but Gypsy will be the mother in the next lifetime,
Could be the oh Gypsy. Oh,
in
wow.
the next soul contract. So
Right.
this is a, cyclical thing, which a lot of soul contracts are anyway, but I'm getting that very strongly. I mean, Dee Dee actually, on a soul level, thinks that these are very beneficial lessons for all involved. And I'm like, you've got a kid sitting there in jail for the rest of his life. I believe what I'm picking up, he was extremely vulnerable. I
Yeah.
don't feel he was conscious of the decisions he was making. How is that even beneficial? And she says it just is. And even as I'm questioning her, she's getting a little agitated.
Interesting. All right, so did you sense at any point that Gypsy was nearing this breaking point?
Did you sense at any point that Gypsy was near? Yes, several times. She knew that she was going to run away.
Okay. Did you sense that she was reaching the breaking point that would eventually become your murder?
Oh, did you sense that she was going to try and murder you? No, she never knew that.
So the breaking point was, oh, she might run away, but not like she's going to make sure my life is ended. Not that.
Well, the biggest issue is exposing Dee Dee as a liar and as a fraud.
Right.
And that Dee Dee could go to jail for that, for all
Yeah.
the charitable things that she had received. There was lots and lots of money. I feel like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow. Wow. And you probably did not have a job.
No.
Okay. What were your thoughts and feelings in the moments leading up to your death?
What were your thoughts and feel? Well, it was all about how she was going to keep Gypsy under control. Um, but did you know that this boy was going to kill you? No, she had no idea. She thought, for the most part, he was harmless.
Ugh,
And what happened? Were you awake when it happened? Yeah, she woke up. And what happened then? Did Gypsy come help you? No, Gypsy did not come help her.
she was probably in another room or something. I don't think she was around.
Was Gypsy in the room? No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Do you forgive those two, your daughter and Nicholas?
Do you forgive them? No.
Ooh, from the afterlife, how do you view the role of your daughter and her boyfriend in your murder?
How do you view? Well, it was necessary. I mean, this was all contracted.
I
So
know, yeah.
she says, it was necessary. And in fact, it was her preferred way to exit, as in, instead of being found out and going to jail for life for child
Yeah,
abuse, neglect, all of that. That would have been the end. It was going to end one way or another.
yeah, of
It
course.
was just how was it going to end? And contractually, soul contracts, that was the outcome that they all chose,
Okay.
which is very difficult for people in the audience to hear that. These souls make such tragic decisions sometimes, and it's hard for us here to understand, like, why would this happen? This doesn't, make sense, but unfortunately, this is what the souls tend to do. They make very bad contracts.
Right. Well, that's the ones you learn from the most. So, what lessons have has your soul learned since your passing,
What lessons
if
has your
any?
soul learned? Well, that it's wrong to imprison people,
Kind
because
of.
basically that's what she was doing. She controlled everything. She controlled how this girl felt, how this girl thought, how she processed things emotionally. Education was withheld from her in order to keep her compliant, is
Oh,
what I'm
wow.
getting.
Oh, wow. So, have you gone through a process of healing on the other side? And what was your life review like?
Well, oh gosh, what was your life review like? It was very dark, as in she saw what she's saying to me, all the darkness that was portrayed around the whole situation. And even in her childhood was very dark.
Mm, I can imagine something had to create the monster that you became, you know? Um, so it must have been easier for Gypsy to plan this murder because she probably knew you didn't love her, right? Did she know? We'll mind probe a couple of questions with Gypsy Rose, but
Okay, yeah, let's bring her in. So I'm going
okay.
to ask Gypsy, did you know that your mother did not love you? No, see, she still psychologically believes that at some level her mother really did love her. She doesn't understand. So, in a way, it's almost like my mother did these things out of love.
Oh,
She
wow.
doesn't understand that this mother was doing things out of her own personal gain.
Wow. And still, So what happened to your teeth? They started to crumble supposedly, and just you lost all your teeth and had to have new ones or something like that, or a lot of them were pulled. Tell us about that.
I'm gonna probe Gypsy.
Okay.
Uh, what about your teeth? They rotted out. I feel she says my mother made sure like she wasn't taking care of her teeth. It
Oh,
was good to make her look deformed. And she's telling me that something with like the jaw, or I don't know, it just made her. Did your mother put something in your mouth to try to make your teeth decay or things like that? She just never really took care of her teeth, never brushed her teeth.
oh
She
boy.
wanted them to rot out, according to Gypsy's personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Let's ask Dee Dee. Did you do that on purpose? Yes, she did.
Well, her jaw is a little different. The way she talks like this, and she's got sort of like a collapse of the teeth of the jaw, the entire jaw. So if you look at her interview, you can check out her interview. Maybe Paula will put it in the description box. Do you feel you've been given an opportunity for redemption or reconciliation, Dee Dee? We'll ask some more
Do
questions of Gypsy in a little bit, but
Do you feel that you've been given opportunity for redemption? No, not yet. I think there's so much for her to explore. Like as I'm tuning into her, it's like she's really just closed. She's really just shut down. She does things like one way. It's almost like she's not willing to explore all the different options out there. It's her way all the time on a soul level. I know people think that when you go to heaven, all is forgiven and blah de blah. That's not usually the case.
Oh,
It's you carry that personality type with you a lot of times into heaven, and it's very much like her way all the time. Um, so my thing is, does Gypsy really need to keep making soul contracts with you?
yeah,
I feel she's very manipulative over Gypsy's soul. I feel that on
I
a
bet.
soul level, Gypsy's soul is extremely weak, although it is getting stronger in this lifetime for sure, but
Yeah.
it's still extremely weak. And yet this soul is very domineering and sort of talks her into, signing up for this, signing up for
Oh,
that.
wow. So, Gypsy Rose, I'd like to ask you a couple more questions. How do you feel about your boyfriend being in jail for life? No possibility of parole. Do you feel some guilt there?
How do you
Because
feel
you
about
very much like your mother, very persuasive, I guess, and persuaded him to do this for you. He must have been
Did
really
you
pee-whipped.
did you tell him to do that? She did. She told him exactly what to do and how to do it. How do you feel about that? She feels terrible about it, but she says that I couldn't see any other way out.
Why didn't you do it yourself?
Why didn't you do it yourself? She couldn't do it. She just couldn't do it.
So, what brought you to that brink? Tell me about your mindset. As you said, I've got to make sure she is dead and gone.
What what brought you to that much? She'd been planning this for a few years. Look,
Oh,
I'm getting that she was scouring the internet looking for people to carry this out.
wow.
So, was there ever a point when you had a knife in your hand and you were up in the night and you were going to kill her?
Good
She
question.
says, I thought about it many, many times, but no, there was never, as she's telling me now, her personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. No, there wasn't a time that she could carry out such an attack.
Did you ever plead with your mother to stop doing this nonsense?
Did you ever plead? All the time, but that just increased the cruelty level, she says, and the level of abuse. I mean, the mother was very physically abusive to her as well.
Well, did you ever say, I'm not freaking sick? I'm perfectly fine. Or
Did you
maybe you
ever say
thought you were
that?
sick to some degree. I don't know.
No, she didn't say that because anytime she went against what she's telling me, what her mother ordered or said was the way it was,
Yeah.
she learned very quickly that that would just instigate more abuse. I mean, I can see this girl clearly sitting in a wheelchair getting punched and knocked out of the wheelchair. Like this
Oh,
mother
wow.
is very vicious,
Well, she's a big woman too.
extremely, and a lot bigger than somebody whose muscles were allowed to waste.
Atrophy, yeah. Being not able to, not allowed to walk, I'm sure you became very weak. So, what's your life like now, Gypsy Rose?
Ooh, what's your life like now? I mean, she said, I'm trying to find happiness and peace. That's all she wants in life. Is
Mm.
are you with someone now? She is. Are they abusive? Yeah, they are a little controlling and abusive. So it seems like she's still attracting this in. Are they physically abusive? No, but very controlling. I feel financially abusive too.
Wow. Really controlling the money, the purse strings. Okay. What was your, any more, any message from Gypsy to the world? And then we'll go back to Dee Dee.
Oh, any message that you would like to give to the audience? She's like, just don't allow yourself to be so controlled where it psychologically shuts you down, where you think there's no way out.
Right. Okay. Okay, back to Dee Dee. Dee Dee, what was your transition like? Tell me about that. The Nicholas was stabbing you. How long did it take for you to jump out of your body?
How
And
long
what
did
did
it
you
take?
see? Who did you meet?
How long did it take for you to jump out of your body? Oh, it was in a split second. She welcomed the change. She welcomed going into the spirit world. I feel towards the end, people were starting to get suspicious, and that is coming through very strongly. People
Wow.
were starting to question why this little girl was not allowed to talk to people, why every interaction with people was controlled. People were starting to get very suspicious, and
Wow.
people were starting to talk, she says. And she was looking for, oh, how am I going to get out of this? She was actually contemplating a move. Um,
Oh,
but even that was going to be extremely difficult. So she welcomed going into the spirit world. Who greeted you? There was a male there that greeted her. I feel this may be a grandfather of some sort, uh, and told her off when she got there. Like this person that you orchestrated and designed to be during that lifespan here on the earth plane was terrible. It's disgusting set of choices, is what she's telling
wow.
me. So I'm saying, so with that in mind, that you're receiving, sort of critique and criticism up there, are you being advised to pick a different set of circumstances? No, because so much of this is unresolved. It has to be played out until it is finally resolved.
Yeah. Hmm. So you're gonna be the victim next time. So who was this man? You said grandfather figure?
Was it like you said the man, was it a grandfather? Yes, I feel it's somebody she respected quite a lot, that she looked at as like a grandfather
Okay.
figure. Um, he never passed any judgment, and he knew, because even in her own family, even in her own childhood, this was the way to get things out of people. This is nothing new. It's
Yeah.
just that she took it to the extreme.
Okay. I got it. So who are these people that were starting to get suspicious? You're talking about family, friends, neighbors, doctors, nurses?
Ooh, who was starting to get suspicious? The medical community.
Mm,
As more and more tests were coming out, well,
yeah.
why don't we test her to see exactly what she does have? Because it's been a long time since she's been tested. Maybe there's new medication that would help her function better. um that those they started getting suspicious when she was declining a lot of these examinations. But then
Oh,
what she would say is, oh my God, I can't put my baby through one more test. What, she's just been through so much. And of course that is somewhat believable.
yeah.
I mean, you can think that children that are actually really disabled and really suffering medically, you just don't want to give them one more test. So that held them off. But then there were some doctors and medical staff that were adamant that she has certain tests. I feel the family was very suspicious of her as well.
I got you.
She stopped talking to people that started to question her. And, it was almost as if she constantly had to keep convincing people over and over again. And when they weren't convinced, she'd shut them out. And there were times when she wasn't answering her phone. She wasn't, when people started to get suspicious, she literally would just
Cut
get
ties.
away from them.
Yeah. Well, I bet. What would you say to others who suffer from control, delusion, or trauma-based parenting, Dee Dee?
What would you say? Control, delusion, or trauma? Well, it creates a lot of suffering
Yeah.
for everyone involved, she says. It's not just about the individual, it's about the whole family dynamic.
Yeah.
And it can take years. Like, even as I probe Gypsy and she says, "Oh, I want to have this peace. I want to have, a life with a little bit of happiness in it." She really struggles with happiness. She also has this thing about survivor's guilt, I think, is what I'm picking up
Oh,
very
oh,
strongly. Like, maybe I shouldn't have survived. I'm not allowed to be happy because I am here and she's not.
and
Um,
Nick is in jail for the rest of his life, prison. So there's some survivor guilt probably surrounding that too, right?
is there survivors? Yeah, she feels terrible about that.
Right, right.
And I also feel that if she had the money and the financial and the monetary backing, that his family would sue her privately for manipulating him into doing something that he should not have been doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got to take responsibility for his actions too. So she didn't put the knife in his hand and grab his hand, and so he did it. So
Oh,
how do you
well, let's
hope?
ask that question.
Okay.
Did you put the knife in his hand? No, she gave him the knife. And did you then instruct him to tell him what to do? She did instruct him.
Okay.
And she said, make sure you stab her in the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. All right. How do you hope people view your story today, Dee Dee, from a spiritual or human growth perspective?
How do you hope your people view your story today, Dee Dee? Well, it's to bring awareness to other potential. This goes on more than we think, she says.
Oh, wow.
This is a massive problem. I
As
mean,
is regular Munchausen's, where a person will make themselves sick. Sometimes I know one medical student, friend of mine, and who had diabetes, she would inject her own feces into her veins so that she developed a heart valve infection because she wanted sympathy. Yeah, so that goes on more than you think. Munchausen's by proxy
God.
and regular Munchausen's. But go ahead.
Oh my God. To me, I'm just like, that's just so awful. You could die.
Of course.
Why are you trying? So is it that they're trying to kill themselves? No, Dee Dee
Oh,
saying no. Was it that you were going to try to kill your daughter? No, because then there
it might
would
even
be no
stop.
more free stuff coming in the
Right.
door.
Right, exactly. Okay. What do you understand now about the soul contracts you and Gypsy may have had? Yeah, I think we've already covered that, but if you'd like to add anything, that's fine.
Is there anything else you would like to add to the soul contract that you already have? I mean, just that, this soul is very, like I said, very domineering, very overbearing, like very strong and angry.
Aggressive,
And
dark. Yeah,
mm,
right, right. Okay.
really, she would have done better off if, and I'm going to put this to her. What about if instead of doing all this crazy stuff, that you found a way to resolve these issues early on, and that way you and Gypsy can make a new soul contract that is happier and more beneficial for the both of you and supportive. And she's like, no, what, like she's totally lost with that concept.
It would have probably been better if you were found out and put in prison. That would probably have been more beneficial to your soul contract, I think. What do you think?
Ooh,
Eric,
what a,
Eric, you might need to chime in here.
yeah, yeah. That would have been optimum because it would have allowed her an extended period of time, Erik says, to contemplate and to
Oh, yeah.
talk and to get therapy and to, really think about the choices that she made.
Gypsy, why didn't you just turn her into the authorities so that could have happened?
Why didn't you just turn her into the She tried. She tried to tell people, but
That would be easy to
it
do.
just the abuse got much worse.
You could have called Child Protective Services, right? and say, hey, she's chaining me to the bed, she's beating me, she's making me sit in a wheelchair, and I'm perfectly capable of walking. It seems like you could have done that if you had been just more persuasive.
Why did
I don't
you
think
not?
that would have been that hard, dude. I mean, really.
She didn't think that far ahead. She was terrified of her mother due to all of the abuse that she has suffered.
All the more
Those
reason.
severe blows, those punches, those throwing her against the wall, holding her up by her neck, slamming her against the wall. She was absolutely terrified of her mother.
Mm. All right, last question. Of course, Liz, you may have more. Erik, you may have more. Dee Dee, what message do you have for your daughter, Gypsy Rose?
What message do you have for your daughter, Gypsy Rose? That as a soul, she does love her.
Yeah.
But as the person here on the earth plane, she was incapable of loving anyone.
Wow. What a life to live without love.
Mm.
Seriously, it must be awful. Okay, any other messages? Anything else, Gypsy, you want to say, or Dee Dee? Or do you want to ask, Liz? You always come up with great questions. Oh,
Thank you. For me, and I'm sure most of your listeners, I mean, they know me, but for me, I'm like, would the CTT, the consciousness transformation techniques, like if Gypsy was to have, a lot of that, would
mhm.
this help her leave this soul contract once and for all? I'm asking Erik, and Erik
Oh,
is saying yes. She really has to have a consciousness breakthrough. Being subjected to that level of abuse,
yeah.
the brain wiring is just not there. It's really very limited. She
Yeah.
needs to try to expand her consciousness. I mean, this girl is just trying to survive, but it would be nice if she had the time and space. And I'm not talking about talk therapy. Talk therapy is talk therapy. It's not, why did we choose this soul contract? What was it about
Right.
my past life karmic debt that needed to bring about such a horrific soul contract? Why did I sign up to this? Who chose this? I'm talking about that type of consciousness expansion. And Erik is saying yes, because I feel with this Dee Dee, her personality is so strong that she would crush anybody, like it all sounds good on paper, right? Until
Right.
it's not.
Mm. So let's talk about real quickly before we close this therapy and who in the audience would benefit by it. And we're going to put, of course, Liz's information in the description box below so you guys can access that and explore it.
Well, so basically, consciousness transformation technique is a technique that was created by George Duisman. He's no longer here. He died almost 3 years ago. Bless him. I love George. I miss him so much. Oh my God, it's like a hole in my heart when I even talk about it. I just want to cry. So I found George in 2000, the end of 2017, and I worked with him every single day learning this technique, and we really made some fantastic strides. I have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to the CTT. It's free energy healing. All you have to do is to go onto that channel and just follow me on the videos. We meet every Monday morning as a group, and
Awesome.
you can feel the energy moving in and around the body. You can feel lighter. You feel the sensations along
Very
with us
cool.
as we're going through the recording. So, what it actually does, it promotes consciousness expansion by doing an energy exchange, taking out the negative, putting in the positive.
Cool.
And when you do that, it rewires the brain and body and promotes consciousness expansion. Now, it does have its limitations. It cannot stop the aging process.
Oh, yeah.
And, it just can't. I had people try. I even
Yeah.
tried with George.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, you just can't. stop the
No,
aging process.
none of
The
us are
aging
getting out of here
process,
alive, dude. I mean, seriously.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, that's interesting. And all that information is in the description box, people. All right. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Eric.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dee Dee and Gypsy, for agreeing to be a part of this. And hey, all you guys, please hit the like button, subscribe, and subscribe to Liz's channel as well. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next channeling we're going to have with Liz. All right. Thank you, guys. Love you
Thank
all.
you. Love you all too. Thank you. Love you, Elisa.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.